Welcome back, Delusionals, to another episode of the Delusional Growth Podcast with me, Dilan Faith. Today we're talking about how I post consistently every single day on multiple platforms, 2-3 times a day, and still stay sane without burnout or a big team. I want to start with saying that creating and posting content is a muscle that you get to develop, and things get so much easier once you have a strong enough why, once you know why you are doing this. And if you really love the work you do, if you not just like it, but you love it, then you would do it even if nobody paid you, even if nobody clapped for you. You feel like you have this mission, right? Then things get so much easier because you just share. You're just a channel, right? We're going to talk about like specific strategy today, but I want to start with saying this because I had multiple businesses before I started my coaching and consulting business, and none of them had the success that I have now. And I think this is highly related to the fact that I wasn't really doing something that I'm super passionate about. Maybe I was doing something that I like, but there's a huge difference between liking something, liking what you do. It's like, yeah, I like what I do, versus like, I'm obsessed with what I do. I still remember this day. I was at a retreat with one of my mentors, Shoshana Raven, and we were each asking a question. And I had the question of like, how do I scale? Something like that. And she goes, well, I don't really see you turned on by what you do. And I was like, what do you mean? I didn't want to accept it at first, but she was right. Maybe I liked what I did, but I wasn't obsessed with it. And once I made the shifts that made me really super excited, super turned on by my work, then consistency became so easy. So I have 6 tips for you today, but the most important one is to start with your identity. Because regardless of how many times a day, a week you are posting right now, that is the identity of the person you have. So if you're posting 3 times a week, you have the identity of someone who posts 3 times a week. I'll tell you the story. I was getting mentorship again from this cool Gen Z girl, 22, 23, something years old. And I remember she had come to Berlin to visit, and she made like a little meetup, and I was there and I was meeting with her. It was kind of cool. Then I remember asking her like, hey, do you want to, go out? And then she goes, girl, I can't afford to go out. I have work to do tomorrow morning. I need to get up at 6 a.m. and shoot 3 reels. And I was like, oh my God, because she didn't have to do any of that. She was already a millionaire, but she had the identity of the person who posts so consistently. And she obviously had employees that depended on her, but she had this identity so strong that she just couldn't let it go. So this is the shift that I had a couple of years ago, because when I first started my business, I was posting like, I had the goal to post 3 times a week. That was a lot for me at the time. Now I post 3 times a day. I had this goal, and then, I was achieving that. But then at one point I realized, well, if I want to scale beyond 5K months, that was where I was at the time, then I need to, be the person who is earning 10K months or more. And I looked at all these incredible, successful female entrepreneurs who were already there, and I saw, wow, they're posting a lot. Like they're posting all the time. They're posting 10 times more than I am. So if I want this, if I want this life, if I want the success, then I need to have the identity of the person who has that success, and I need to take actions accordingly. Because everybody wants the 10K months, but nobody wants to go through the ups and downs during staying consistent on social media, because sometimes you just want to be like, I don't want to post today, or I don't want to create content. And I have tips for you in terms of how to overcome that. But first step is deciding. Okay, decision is super, super important. And that day, I made a decision. I said, okay, I will embody the identity of the person who posts multiple times a day, every single day, because I'm obsessed with my work, because I love doing this, right? And don't get me wrong, are there days where I don't feel like doing anything? Absolutely. Today was one of them, as a matter of fact. And how come I am in front of camera right now and recording a podcast? Well, because when I feel scared, when I feel exhausted, when I feel overwhelmed, I don't just let myself drown in those feelings, or I don't just let myself be entertained by potential realities of my lower versions. Of course, I have that voice inside me that says, oh, come on, I don't want to do anything today. Like, it's not going to work out anyways. You posted your first podcast episode, it got what? 50 views? That's nothing. Just quit. Everyone has that voice. But you have a choice in terms of how much you're going to entertain that voice. And if you know how to dance with it, I'm not saying that I'm punching it on the face, but I learned how to dance with it in terms of like, okay, like, hi fear, welcome. You also have a space. Take a seat, have something to drink, but you don't get to drive. Let me just check my microphone. You don't get to drive the entire car. I am driving. You get to have space. I will allow for you. I'll sit with you until you want to leave, but I'm in control, right? So once I do that, once I give myself space to feel whatever I'm feeling, and this conversation is going somewhere completely different to sitting with feelings, actually. That's also a very, very important topic that I would love to have a special episode on. But once I give myself that space, and then I let myself feel, whether it's for a couple hours or minutes or seconds, as long as I need, but then I remind myself of the person that I'm becoming. And there are so many ways to do that. Sometimes it's by putting on makeup and putting on nice clothes that make me feel good, right? Sometimes it's journaling. Sometimes it's watching an inspiring episode or something like this, or a training that I'll be doing actually after this, or getting coaching, whatever that is. And I also want to say it's so helpful. I wouldn't be able to do this on my own right now if I hadn't gotten those like so much coaching and mentorship from mentors, because a mentor and a coach will help you see yourself at an elevated state. And you need to do that consistently for multiple years, yes, until you start developing that sense of identity yourself. So I got so much mentorship. I paid so much money, and I'm so grateful for every single penny that I paid, because I now have this vacation-like life that I'm obsessed with, and I get to do whatever I want when I wake up in the morning. I don't have to do anything. So it's very important to have someone to hold that vision for you until you learn how to hold that vision for yourself. And once you learn to do that, then you sit with those feelings whenever you're not feeling like doing something, right? Whenever you're not feeling like creating content, and then you remind yourself, who you are becoming. So identity work is the first step. Second step that I'm going to recommend is obviously using AI. Like, if you are not already using ChatGPT or whatever AI you're using, what are you even doing? It's my best friend at this point, guys. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And if you know how to train it well, if you know how to prompt it the right way, if you know how to create a custom GPT so that it speaks exactly like you, so that it creates content the way you want it to create, then things are just so easy, and you basically have an employee for $30 a month. So if you want to know more about that, I highly recommend you sign up for my AI bootcamp. It's just 29 euros at this point. I don't know, the price might rise until you watch this, but as of now, April 2025, it's 29 euros, totally worth it. And I show you how to train ChatGPT to your own brand voice so that it creates content exactly like you. Like, at this stage, of course, I edit my content after ChatGPT writes it, but it's very minor. Like, it creates most of my content, and I'm so grateful because it saves me so much time and so much brain energy. If you are still writing all your captions yourself, then you are wasting your beautiful energy. You know, the reason that I can show up like this today, I can record a podcast, I already shared a story, I already shared a reel, and now I'm creating a podcast, and my team shared multiple posts on Facebook as well. Like, if I'm able to do all of these, it's only because, not only, but it's mostly because I outsourced the tasks that were giving me brain fog, that were giving me a headache, you know? So sign up for the bootcamp for only 29 euros and you will not regret it. I promise you. I'll post the link in the description. So identity work, using AI. Third tip is learning how to repurpose. You really need to learn this because you don't have to create content every day, okay? So I've been creating content consistently for 5 to 8 years. I think more than 8 years now, or 10, I don't even know. But for like consistently for, you know, every day, multiple pieces of content for 2 years, I would say. And now I have so much content that, like, I wouldn't have to create anything if I kept repurposing. Obviously, I create new things because I love what I do. But if you create long form content like podcasts or videos, or even like short form content, you know, even if you would pick up your phone whenever you feel inspired and just talk as if you are talking to your favorite client. Talk as if you're talking to your best friend. And then you have this library of so many videos. And then you can just shuffle. You can just use them. You can repurpose a piece of content after 3 months, basically. And people really need repetition. Like, repetition is the mother of skill, as Tony Robbins says. So don't be afraid to reshare. You're actually doing them a favor. Guys, if you really implement all these things that I'm sharing you, it's literally impossible for you to not be consistent on social media. Like, it's really easy. It wasn't always easy, yes, but at this state, if you're making 2,000 to 3,000 euros per month, then, like, you have to be consistent, okay? Because then you can make 20 to 30,000 euros per month. And if you're not making that, it means you're not prioritizing these things that I'm saying, which are so easy for you to do. So do the identity work. Well, that might be the most challenging part, but get a good coach, get a good mindset coach. And this is a very big part of my work as well, to have mindset coaching, because you can have the best strategy. You can post consistently, and so many people come to me and they're like, Dilan, I post consistently, I do everything that they tell me to do, but it's still not working. Then I say, well, then the mindset part is missing, right? So get a good mindset coach. Reach out to me if you want support with that. Use AI. And then the third tip is being real and raw and alive and sharing what is happening right now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, not even 2 hours ago. What's happening right now? Literally, the topic for today's podcast, literally, I followed all the steps that I'm teaching you. I'm just realizing that. I followed all the steps that I'm teaching you in order to shoot this podcast. In the morning, I wasn't feeling like posting or creating content. So I did some identity work. I put myself in the position of someone who is posting consistently by how I walk, by how I dress up, etc. And then I asked ChatGPT what should be the topic for today. And because it knows my brand like the back of its hand, well, it doesn't have an end, but it knows. She knows. I love her. She just gave me the topic, which I loved. And then I am sharing what is real and alive for me right now, because I know that consistency is so important. And still to this day, so many entrepreneurs come to me asking support for consistency, because even with AI, even with, repurposing, even with all the tools we have today, they still struggle. So if you want to be consistent on social media, you need to break up with perfectionism, okay? Because some videos are gonna feel better than others. And you need to be okay with that. I have a client who had an interview, and she was sharing with me that, oh my God, I don't like myself in an interview. And I was like, it's fine. Like, you're gonna forget about it. I've done so many interviews and so many, I have so much content online that I forgot how to care, honestly, as my shirt says. I don't care. There are things I do care, like I care a lot about my clients. I care about their well-being. I care about their success. But looking perfect, quote unquote, perfecting videos, I don't care. Like, perfection doesn't exist anyways, right? And I want social media to feel like, it's a real place. It's not, like, I don't like it when it's so much about pretend and look at how amazing my life is. We're all tired of that. We're all tired of aesthetically pleasing Instagram feeds. We just want real, raw content right now. And I want to see you in your deepest moments, whether that's deep, good, in a good way, or in a dark way. I want to see you in both, because it helps us connect. Oh, I need to tell you a story. When I recorded my first episode last week, I was in a hurry. I was I was going to go somewhere. And then I recorded, like, I was on the clock. And then I remember my best friend asked me, like, when are you going to share it? And I told her, obviously tonight, because I don't know who I'll be tomorrow. I don't know if I'll still be the same person I am today, so I need to share it ASAP. And then I did share it. And then the next morning I woke up and I was like, let me rewatch this. And I was like having flashbacks of things I said that I was not super satisfied with. And then I watched it and I was like, well, I don't know if that was, the most confident entry or whatever, this and that, blah, 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 my brain talking. And I was like, you know what? Should I remove it? Should I not? Should I record it again? And then I said, you know what? I won't. because that is part of my brand. Authenticity is a big part of my brand. And I can't tell you how many clients signed up with me just because, mostly because they love my authenticity. Are there people who comment regularly under my posts and they say, oh my God, you're crying and sharing a video of you crying, how cringe? Yes, all the time. But that's okay. That's okay. I can live with that because, remember, I don't care. So just be you. Just share whatever is happening right now. Just share what's important for you. But this doesn't mean sharing pictures of your food every single day. Obviously, it needs to be interesting, right? So, third tip, being real, being authentic. Fourth tip, I highly, highly, highly recommend you invest in a social media manager. Like, I cannot live without a social media manager anymore. Because they're gonna save you so much time. You're thinking you're saving money by posting your own content, but that's actually making you lose money. Because the opportunity cost is so big. The opportunity cost of what you're losing by having all that admin work done by you instead of you channeling that energy to something that's actually scalable, that's actually requiring of you. Like, you are the brain, you're the heart of your brand. And you don't have to be posting. Someone else can do that for you. And if you free that time from your schedule, then you're going to have not only the time, but the energy that you're going to have. It's just so big to ignore. I wouldn't be able to record this. I wouldn't be able to start a podcast if I didn't have a social media manager. I wouldn't be able to create content in 2 different languages now and have clients from all over the world if I didn't have a social media manager. I fired my social media manager last year, even though she was amazing, but I was going through a time that there was an existential crisis, topic for another episode, but I had to let her go. And then I had this brief period of a couple months that I didn't have a social media manager, and it was hard. And I wasn't as consistent as I am right now. And maybe, yeah, I spent less money, but I got also less clients. Like, did I really save money? No, I lost money actually. So if you want to scale your business, you really need to think like an entrepreneur and not think like an employee. A real entrepreneur always sees money as a resource, a renewable resource, right? An entrepreneur knows that there are plenty of money. There's an abundance of money. So when you have it, you can invest it, because what you don't use, you lose. But if you have a lack mindset of an employee, you're always in the save. And this is a deep conditioning, by the way. We should do a topic on money. Well, we should do an episode on money. This is deeply conditioned to always have that save mindset, like save every penny you can have, right? But that's not what's going to really bring you the success, the scalability. The scalability comes when you invest in the right things. When you really invest in the things that have a high ROI, return on investment, and a social media manager is 100% one of them, I can promise you that. Have a social media manager. By the way, this is also something that we offer in the agency side of my business. So reach out to me if you want support with that. You can book a free call as well. Last tip. Well, and then I have a bonus one. Last tip. Still like an artist. You really don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like, you don't. There are already so many pieces of content that have gone viral, that have performed well. You just need to learn how to implement that, how to quote unquote still, but not really, like an artist. In my business, we work on Trello, and we have this huge Trello board with like so many links of content ideas from other creators, content posts, and like reels that have gone viral. And my social media manager, when she needs to create new content, she just goes there and then finds a post and done. It's so easy. It's so easy. It's so easy. I go in depth about this in which program? In my Confident, Consistent, Visible 2025 challenge. That was also a really good program. 5 days of magic, mostly focused on content creation. You can buy that. I'm gonna put the link in the description. So the bonus tip is to have a business model that gives you space. If you're solely focused on one-on-one coaching, that's not going to give you the time and energy, freedom to be creative. Like sometimes in the mornings, I have time for myself. I have time to meditate. I have time to do whatever I want. And that gives me the energy then to go and create content. But if I would have 4 back-to-back calls every day, like I would be dead. I wouldn't be able to be consistent on social media. So if you have a business that's dependent on one-on-one work, we need to talk. We need to talk because you need to create a business model that's scalable. And one-on-one coaching is not scalable. I'm not saying you're not going to have one-on-one clients, but it's not scalable. You're still selling your time, and what you do is so much better than selling your time. So if you're still doing one-on-one coaching, then you need to find your way into creating a group program and then scaling that group program. So if you want help with that, reach out to me as well. All these steps are the steps that we would start working on if you were a client of mine, and I love inviting you to take the next step towards a better future, towards the better version of yourself. So I'm always inviting you to my free events, challenges, or low ticket programs or high ticket coaching. And currently I am doing a free challenge. We are starting tomorrow. It's gonna be amazing. It's called the Magnetic Performer Challenge. I am gonna show you my step-by-step formula that allowed me to scale my coaching business from literal zero to now have this business that is independent of me, that grows while I sleep, and that's still authentic because it is an artist creation for me, because I'm an artist at heart, and it's authentic, and it's something that I can combine my artistry with my marketing magic, and I'm gonna teach you how to do that too. And it's still for free. If you want to join, click the link below. Don't forget to connect with me on Instagram and let me know how you found this. If this was helpful, please write a comment. It really helps with the algorithm. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.